Hi, this is Marissa from Brock, and I'm excited to be introducing FinTips, sponsored by First Ontario Credit Union. This is a program for students that are run 4 times a year, and we'll be hearing from Dave Skierman from First Ontario Credit Union. Dave is the Chief Strategy Officer and has over 40 years' experience in the credit union and financial services industry. He is the financial expert behind Finance Fridays with CHCH Morning Live, and he'll be talking to us a little bit more about managing your finances and money. Dave, today we want to talk about budgeting. Now, we all know it's important, but not a lot of us know how to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, budgeting it's simple, but it's only simple if you're used to doing it and you do it on a regular basis. And you know, a high percentage of post-secondary students talk about stress, and what a lot of them are stressed about is managing their money, particularly their spending money during their school year.
Definitely.
And you know, as being a student, that students have enough stress in their life with you know, worrying about their education, their studies, their social life, boyfriends and girlfriends. Last thing you want to worry about is stress about money. So budgeting really does you know, help students stay on track with their finances so they don't have to worry about everything else.
Yes, exactly. Relieve some stress, definitely.
Absolutely.
Now, can you give us some budgeting tips that students can think about?
Sure. First of all, it's simple. Write it down.
Okay.
And even take a step back before that. Tell yourself that I'm going to budget. You know, I have some money, I want it to last me the school year, so I am going to take the time to budget. Again, it's not hard. It's as simple as taking a piece of paper and a pen, writing down the money that you have and the things that you have to spend your money on. The first tip would be to divide the lump sum that you have to last you the year into the number of weeks that you're going to need the money. And I'll just give you an example. Let's take $2,000. So if you've got $2,000 in terms of your spending money to last you the year, divide it by the number of weeks from September to sometime in April when you're going to be in school. It's roughly 34 weeks. And if you divide that in and you do the math, you've got about $58 a week. So again, $2,000 seems like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But when you break it down into 34 weeks, $58 a week is not quite as much. So now you can say, okay, $58 a week, how am I going to spend that money? You know, if you're starting to have a coffee at Tim's or Starbucks on the way to class every day, and that's $5 or $6, times 5 days a week, you're not going to have too much money left. So again, if you break it down into small bite-sized pieces, you'll make it a lot easier to understand how much money you've got to last you the year.
Great. Now, it sounds easy, but it's likely common that students will slide off track a little bit with their spending and their budget.
It happens. It happens to all of us. It happens to adults as much as students. And when you slide off track, I mean, you're going to get in trouble unless you slide back on track. And it's really not that hard either, but it takes some discipline. So I'll give you an example. You spend a little bit too much, then you've got to cut back in the weeks following, or you're going to run out before the year's over. You know, another tip is, particularly new students and the first of the year when you have most of your money, you have this tendency sometimes to maybe make a large purchase.
Yes.
I'll use myself an example. I got to university for the first time, and I thought I needed a new pair of speakers for my room. And $500 later, I still have money left. I've got lots of money. But again, take our example we used earlier, $2,000 to last me the year. Well, now that's down to $1,500. If you do the math on the weeks, I've only got $40-some to spend every week now instead of 58. So again, resist that temptation to make that large purchase because it's going to hurt you in the long run. You're going to run out of money later on. So you have to get back on track. Be cheap. Stay home with some friends and entertain yourselves rather than going out if you find yourself short on money, 1 week and you have to catch up.
Now, what else can students think about to help them get through the year financially?
Well, again, I said be cheap, but and I really mean that. There's nothing wrong with being cheap. You should be cheap when you're a student. Don't spend money needlessly that you really don't need to spend. If you're living off campus and responsible for groceries, shop with your friends. So shop with your roommates. Buy in bulk because it's cheaper. Rather than everybody buy the same things, and you're probably going to end up throwing some out anyway. Take turns on buying. I'll buy the bread this week, you buy the milk. I'll buy the butter, you buy the beer. Just kidding on that one, you probably don't do that. So just, use the opportunities that you have on campus that the university gives you, take advantage of that. So again, just some little tips on making sure your money lasts. Books is another thing. Everybody doesn't have to buy new books. You use a book for a class and you probably never see that book again. So look for used books, and I think you do have an opportunity here at Brock to go into a place to buy used books. And then sell your books and get some money back. You might have an opportunity in some classes to use virtual textbooks. Again, not everybody can use that, but if you're good at virtual textbooks, it's going to save you money as opposed to buying the textbooks you may have to throw away or try to sell later. So again, there's lots of ways to, if you really think about it, to be careful with your money. Yeah,
and I think it's definitely about getting creative and finding ways where you can save your money as well, right? Now, should students rely on a credit card to get them through the month? What are your thoughts on credit cards?
Credit cards, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly with credit cards. Credit cards are good for students for emergency purposes. They're good so you don't have to carry cash around with you, so they're very convenient. Also, they can provide rewards and some perks if used properly. But where credit cards can be on the bad side, or ugly side even, and it's not just for students, it's for anybody that has credit cards, it's when you overuse it. So you use it for things you don't necessarily need, and all of a sudden you can't pay the balance back every month, and that starts to hurt your credit rating, and you start to run out of money because there's also high interest on credit cards. So again, credit cards are good to, especially for students, to establish a credit rating and have for convenience and emergencies, but just make sure you use them appropriately.
Thanks, Dave. These are great tips. Join us next time when we will focus on debt. If you have any personal finance questions, you can email them to financefriday@firstontario.com or through Twitter @finance_Friday.